Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? And welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Well, Who Dat Nation, you know what time it is. It is time for the prediction edition of the State of the Saints podcast, and it is a special divisional playoff round prediction show. So, on this edition, we're going to be breaking down every single divisional round game from the AFC and the NFC. But of course, before we get started, we got to talk about some Saints news. Now, I did a podcast maybe, I guess like a couple episodes back, where I talked about how the media just completely disrespects the New Orleans Saints, how the New Orleans Saints seemed to not get any type of recognition or acknowledgement being the number one seed, having a first round bye, going into this year's playoffs. The national media always seems to make time to talk about the Cowboys for 2, 3, 4, 5 segments. Get opportunity to talk about Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments. They even throw a little LeBron up in there. Now I understand, man. I understand the game. It's all about ratings at the end of the day. It's about who can generate the best numbers. So, of course, you know everybody love the Dallas Cowboys, even though the Dallas Cowboys haven't done a damn thing in almost 30 years. But people still love the Dallas Cowboys, so, of course, they're going to always be on the marquee. But this particular moment right here, what I seen, takes the cake. Now, I was watching ESPN's First Take. And that's a show with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. And Stephen A. has a segment called Stephen's A-List. Now, Stephen's A-List is basically Stephen A. Smith's top 5 things for that particular week. For example, he might break down the top 5 best teams in the National Football League or the top 5 best teams in the NBA. He does this every single week. But this week, I can truly say that Stephen A. Smith has lost his damn mind.
The top 5 quarterbacks, according to moi, going into this week's playoff.
Lord.
Number 5, give it to me, Tom Brady. Number 4 on the list, give it to me, Dak Prescott. Number 3 on the list, Phillip Rivers. Number 2 on the list, Patrick Mahomes. Let's get to number 1 on the list. Give it to me right now, Andrew Luck.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you heard it right. This guy said the top 5 best quarterbacks going into this week's divisional round. Number 5, Tom Brady. Number 4, Dak Prescott. Number 3, Phillip Rivers. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. And number 1, Andrew Luck. I would like to know what Stephen A. Smith was smoking before he hit the set of this show. Where the hell is Drew Brees? Where the hell is Drew Brees? Drew Brees is an MVP candidate. Drew Brees, who leads the league in completion percentage. Drew Brees, who is easily one of the best quarterbacks, not even in the NFL right now, but of all time. Stephen A. Smith, from the bottom of my heart, man, and I think I speak for every single person in the Who Dat Nation, throw your list in the trash. Stephen A. Smith just showed me that he knows absolutely nothing about football. Stephen A. Smith needs to stick to basketball, man, because Stephen A. Smith has been exposed time after time not knowing his stuff. Stephen A. Smith is a person that is basically a walking, talking parody. He can entertain you. He can rile up people, and he generates ratings. But he knows absolutely nothing about sports. If he does not have Drew Brees on the list, and when he was asked about this mistake This is what he said.
Now, here's the thing about Tom Brady.
I just forgot about it.
You forgot about Drew Brees? How do you forget about Drew Brees? Stephen A. Smith, man, I'm very disappointed in you this evening. Very disappointed. But that's no surprise, man, because that's what the media does, man. I don't care what anybody says. I am a firm believer that the national media does not want to see the New Orleans Saints as a successful franchise. I think that they purposely not talk about the New Orleans Saints because they want teams like the Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots to be in the Super Bowl. They want these big market teams to reign supreme, and they can give not a damn about teams like the New Orleans Saints. And this shows it right here. When a team is 13-3, a #1 seed, and have a first-round bye, and they have to scratch and bite and claw their way into the national media, that ought to show you everything that you need to know, man. Stephen A. Smith, please, man, just stick to basketball. Look, don't go chasing NFL. Go stick to the National Basketball Association that you're used to. But now that I got that out of the way, now it is time to talk about the divisional round of the playoffs, the AFC and the NFC divisional round of the playoffs, and it's now time to break down these games. So without further ado, man, somebody hit that ESPN music for me real quick. Yes, sir. The first game, the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this game right here could be one of those games that go back and forth. You have the Kansas City Chiefs, who have a high-powered offense, and they're led by a person who, in a lot of people's mind, is the league MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Their offense has been flying high all year long. They have been putting up massive numbers. Of course, we know Patrick Mahomes had 50 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards passing. But now you have an Indianapolis Colts team coming into town, a team that had to win a Week 17 win-and-you're-in scenario type game on Sunday Night Football. They win their wild card game versus the Houston Texans. They beat them in Houston and did a very, very convincing job of it. And now they're going into town, into Kansas City, who is the #1 seed, and they are looking to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. So the question on everybody's mind is, who is going to win this game? And I believe that the Indianapolis Colts are going to win this football game. Look, I understand that Patrick Mahomes has been putting up monster numbers. I understand that the Kansas City Chiefs have a good offense. I understand they can put up a lot of points, but I am smart, and I understand that the Kansas City Chiefs can't play a lick of defense. They can't stop anybody to save their mama life. In the words of Bart Scott, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. These guys defensively, they struggle. And you have an Indianapolis Colts team who are a very, very balanced team, surprisingly. A lot of people would think that the Indianapolis Colts were a good offensive team because they have Andrew Luck, but it's their defense that has been answering the call. A lot of people have been thinking that the team's defense is a little bit young and inexperienced, and it's going to take them some time to adjust. But, of course, they are ahead of schedule, and they are playing lights out. So I think that the Indianapolis Colts are going to win this football game. I think that the Indianapolis Colts, with that offensive line that they have and the defense that can make some stops, I think that Andrew Luck is going to get the job done. Now, Andrew Luck cannot turn the ball over like he normally does. I understand. I praise Andrew Luck for this. He can turn the ball over, and it seems like he has amnesia. It don't bother him. It won't affect how he continues the game. But you cannot turn the ball over in the playoffs and think that you're going to win the game. So if Andrew Luck can keep down the turnovers, and they can sustain some drives, and they can run the football, which they can with Hines and Marlon Mack, I think that the Indianapolis Colts are going to win this football game. And that means that the Kansas City Chiefs, unfortunately, their playoff woes are going to continue. Can you believe that the Kansas City Chiefs have not won a playoff game since Joe Montana was their quarterback? That's right, Joe Montana. That's the last time the Kansas City Chiefs won a playoff game. But I feel bad for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs fans, but I think that there's something special going on in Indianapolis. You have Andrew Luck, who is clearly going to be the comeback player of the year, and I don't think that he's done yet. Next game, you have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Now, This game right here, a lot of people are looking forward to. A lot of people in the Cowboy Nation talking about we them boys, talking about they going to the Super Bowl. Pump your brakes. You got to win this game here. But, of course, you have a Los Angeles Rams team, which a lot of people basically kind of turned their back on. I mean, they struggled down the stretch. Jared Goff, who was playing lights out at the beginning of the season, he ended his season with 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he turned the ball over, 3 fumbles, man. So Jared Goff is not coming into the postseason playing his best football. And then they're playing at home, which a lot of people would say, oh, they're playing at home. Man, that's great. But we all know that teams in Los Angeles, they don't have a home field advantage. I mean, the Rams are playing in the LA Coliseum. The Dallas Cowboys, they're going to have a fan base that is going to travel to Los Angeles, and they might make the Rams feel like they're at an away game. Because I can remember when the Rams played the Green Bay Packers at home during the season, it seemed like they was in Lambeau Field. And I am smart enough to know that the Dallas Cowboy fans, they do travel, they do love their team. I don't understand it. I mean, team haven't been nothing to rave about. Basically, the media is the only thing that's been keeping them going. Winning 3 playoff games in the last 25 years, but they them boys. I don't understand it. But who is going to win this game? I am going to say that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game. Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game because they do have a good defense. I ain't going to hate on them. They do have a good defense. They have 2 athletic linebackers in Jalen Smith and Lathan Van Der Esch. These guys could, they can play, they can cover, man. They make short tackles. And then they have a secondary who is not elite, but they can make some stops. And then the front 4 can get pressure. And then you have Ezekiel Elliott, who is running out of the backfield. He had over 130 yards rushing against the Seattle Seahawks, and they have a pretty stout defense. If you look at the Los Angeles Rams, they have struggled all season long stopping the run. With this defense, with this front 4, they have allowed teams to average 5.1 yards a game. That is very surprising, man, especially since you have Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald in the middle. You would expect their defense to be much, much better. But I think that the Cowboys will make enough plays in order to win this game. Dak Prescott, even though he's not as accurate as a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady, he can make plays with his legs and he can extend plays. I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to muddy up the field. They are going to make this game low scoring. I think this is not going to be a high scoring game at all. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game 20-13, and they're going to go to the NFC Championship. I hated saying that. Moving on, we got the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New England Patriots. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers, they did a good job last week. I mean, they shut down Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson could not do nothing, man. You might as well change his name to Michael Jackson because they had that boy dancing in the pocket, man. I mean, he was not comfortable at all. He got sacked 7 times, and they made the Baltimore Ravens fans turn on their rookie quarterback, man. And now they're headed to Gillette Stadium to take on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So who do I think is going to win this game? I think that the New England Patriots are going to win this game. Now, everything about this game will tell you that the Chargers are going to get the win. But I don't believe that because Tom Brady doesn't lose at home, man. Tom Brady does not lose at home during the regular season, and he definitely doesn't lose at home during the playoffs. So Los Angeles Chargers, in my opinion, they just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think that Tom Brady and the New England Patriots are going to win this game. I think that Tom Brady is going to make the plays in order to win the game. The last time Tom Brady played, I know a lot of people are saying they played the Jets. Who cares? And they probably had their bags packed. But he did throw 4 touchdowns in that game. And like I said, he's playing at home, so he's going to have the home crowd going. I got the New England Patriots winning this football game. Phillip Rivers is unfortunate, man, because I would like to see Phillip Rivers get over that hump, finally beat Tom Brady. He has never beaten Tom Brady in his entire career, but I don't think he's going to get it done. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, he does not get to the big game once again. And the New England Patriots will move on to the AFC Championship. And last but not least, we have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, everybody has been making a big deal out of this Week 11 game when the Saints absolutely destroyed the Philadelphia Eagles 48-7. And the Philadelphia Eagles are basically saying, thank you, New Orleans, for kicking our ass, because with that kicking our ass, you helped us save our season. So thank you. And because of that, we're going to return the favor by trying to eliminate you from the playoffs. But the New Orleans Saints, they are the #1 seed in the NFC, and the New Orleans Saints have been battle tested. And the question on everybody's mind is, who is going to win this game? I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to win this game, quite frankly, because the New Orleans Saints have something to prove. Now, everybody's talking about Nick Foles' magic and the magic of Nick Foles and Saint Nick and the Philadelphia Eagles making a shrine in the locker room. Look, I understand all that. I like Nick Foles. I like his character. I like the person that he is. But the New Orleans Saints are going to win this football game because, quite frankly, I think that there is something special about this team. I've been looking at interviews. I've been looking at some of these players talking to the media. You can see in these guys' eyes there's something different. You can tell it seems like everybody is more focused. Everybody seems like they understand the task at hand. And you have a lot of players on this Saints team that remember the heartbreak of last year in this same round of the playoff, this divisional round. And they have Super Bowl on their mind. We all heard about Sean Payton coming into the locker room and dropping the money in the middle of the floor. He had the armor guards with him, and he had the Lombardi trophy and said, if y'all want to get this money, just win 3 games. We understand that they have all that type of motivation going for them. But the New Orleans Saints, they understand the task at hand, and they're going to get the job done. Now, it's not going to be 48-7 like it once was, because I feel like the Eagles are a prideful team. They're going to play the Saints hard. I think this is going to be back and forth. But I think maybe like in the late fourth quarter, the Saints are going to pull away in this game. I don't have a prediction score right offhand, but let me think about it for a second. If I could think about it, I would say that the Saints are going to win this game 27-17. 27-17. The New Orleans Saints will move on to the NFC Championship game, where they will take on the team that beat them in Week 13, the Dallas Cowboys. And these two teams will play to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But those are my predictions for the AFC and NFC divisional round of the playoffs. I would like to hear from you. What are your prediction scores? Let me know. Comment down below, like, and share this video. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. Check out the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Also, check out previous episodes of the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Till next time, all I have to say is, who dat?